Hey there. So what I'm going to do today is show you the workflow from editing photos to then putting them on my Photos.Melbourne website. Spend a bit of time to optimize this process because getting photos from Lightroom, where I edit my photos, into a website can be a little bit cumbersome, making product pages, um, etc. So let's jump straight into it, and I'll give you a little bit of a look at Photos.Melbourne first to see what I'm talking about. So firstly, this is Photos.Melbourne. It's a big gallery that is tag driven and has lots of tags and categories that are applied. And this has recently added to. Now what I'm going to do is jump to Lightroom, and in Lightroom we have a photo that is pretty much ready to go. So I have not uploaded this yet, and here in Lightroom we've edited it in the develop module, and we go to the library module. We've got keyword tags, we've got descriptions, titles, captions, copyright, all this kind of information. And from here, excuse that low resolution render, from here we can tell it's super high resolution. I go File and then Export with Preset, and I've got an export to go to Photos.Melbourne FTP. So what Lightroom will do is bundle up this image using a preset export filter that I've made, applying these keyword tags, titles, captions, copyright, all this metadata gets baked into the file, and then it uploads that to my server. Now, once this is uploaded, if I go to my server and say ls, I can see there's a file in there called Melbourne Skyline on the Yarra River at dusk. Now, if I go to the back end of my WordPress site, I can see the last photo that I uploaded was called Passive Aggressive, and that was done 22 hours ago. If I refresh this, it will probably be the same. But what happens is on this server, if I go ls again, there's a cron, and basically the cron is what monitors this folder every 2 minutes, and every 2 minutes it says if there's a new file here, then get that file and then put that into my WordPress system. So what the system does is analyzes the metadata, the keywords, the tags, the title, the caption, the description, all that stuff, and then uses that to generate a post type in WordPress for the image that's just been uploaded. So ls, it's still there. Now what I'm going to do is go back to Lightroom, and I'll do one more photo. So here we have another photo. It has some a title, South Bank sunrise with Melbourne under blurred clouds, caption, blah, blah, blah. What I'm also going to add, and this is something that I find super cool, is GPS. So if I tap on the map module and I zoom out, I want to add my image that I shot that I was just looking at, and I can make this a bit bigger so we can see. I'm going to drag that to exactly where I shot my photo, and that was out the front of Crown, and it was literally about here. So if I zoom in and click on this, that was very close. I'm actually going to move it a little bit. And then on the right hand side, it preloads sublocation as South Bank, city as Melbourne. It adds the GPS tags and the countries and the ISO country codes. So this data gets baked into the file. So if I go to File, Export, I could do export with the preset, but I'll show you the little magic behind the preset. If I click on this, we rename the file to be the title of the metadata. And that title is what then generates the post name when it uploads. So title, all good. That's all we need to do. It resizes to 6,000 pixels on the long edge because that's the high resolution download. And we preserve all metadata in there, including location, everything. So the distribution then goes to an FTP server, and the full path is this path here. So I'm going to go export again. It will then export this one photo with the GPS, the metadata, all this stuff, all my edits, onto my server. And if I go back to my server and choose LS, there's nothing in there now. So the cron job has performed its task. Now if I go to the media page in my WordPress setup and hit refresh, the most recent post is Melbourne skyline on the Yarra River. Now if I go to the front end and refresh this page again, on the home page now, the most recent image is long exposure shot of the city skyline with Princess Bridge. So that has now been integrated into the site real easy. And as we go back to the server, my South Bank sunrise with Melbourne under blurred clouds is now there, and it will also be picked up and turned into a product page, which we can then edit as you would a standard product page in WooCommerce or WordPress. We've got the tags. All these tags come from the tags that we added in Lightroom. We've got the product image, which is obviously the image that we set, and then it loads in with a whole bunch of predefined settings, allowing a user on the front end to view the product, view a thumbnail. We can see here there's a very subtle Photos.Melbourne watermark, and they can then download a medium resolution or a high resolution. Medium resolution is about 3000 pixels wide, high resolution is about 6000 pixels wide, or the wallpaper is 1920, so you can download it for free as a wallpaper and use it on your mobile phone or do whatever you like with it. So that's kind of like the most streamlined I've been able to get a WordPress system to integrate with Lightroom, and that is using plugins such as Symbiostock and WooCommerce. I've got a custom server built up that Lightroom basically drops the FTP file into, and if you've got any questions, let me know, but I hope you find that pretty helpful. It took a while to come together with it, but there's a couple more things. So, GPS, what's the point? GPS is super cool because if I go to this product and then go to the location information, anyone looking at this product can see where it's taken. And that's kind of okay on its own. But I've got a little project in process where I essentially display my images on a map in the website, and using the GPS data, I can configure the exact position on the map that they display naturally. So if I click on this image here, for example, and choose Start a Walking Tour, this loads up a starting point. And then if I go to this image here and go Add to Walking Tour, we've got a second walking tour stop. And then click on this one, Add to Walking Tour, Add to Walking Tour. We now have two maps with a walking tour that say it's 451 meters, and that's a almost 8 minute walk. So this is like a cool idea, I think, that allows you to build an itinerary based on photos that you like and build out a walking tour. So like that's one implementation of it. And the way this all works is by the server essentially generating a data file that can be fed into this little app that I'm making, and we can repurpose this in a number of ways. Another way that we could repurpose this, so rather than a walking tour, I've got a little cheeky game. And what this does is it pulls out images from the same system and then slides them all onto the user interface. And then here, each image has GPS data associated with it. And if I drag it onto the map, bada boom, bada bing, I got a score of 2. I could be closer. So if I zoom in, I know where this is taken. This is looking at Queen's Bridge. If I drag this in here, I get a score of 10. There's the Queen Vic Market, and I'm going to drag that into the Queen Vic Market. Another 10. There's Fairfield. Ah, shit, that's a bit far. Blah, blah, blah. Clock's ticking. I've got 20 seconds. If I get it wrong, I lose points. So here we go. I'm just savaging my score. But anyway, that's a little bit about what I've been working on in my spare time. And long story short, check out Photos.Melbourne if you want some pictures, or hit me up if you need any work, because this is the kind of stuff I do when work dries up. Thanks.